So ladies and gentlemen, there are still seats where you can, also at the front, please help yourself. I'd also like to acknowledge the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of our Coast Salish people, specifically the Kwantlen, Katzie, Semiahmoo, and Tsawwassen First Nations. I just wanted to say how impressed I am always, each and every year, as we celebrate international trade success in Surrey. Surrey is where international trade happens. Surrey is where business happens. After tonight's presentation, you really are going to discover the reality of Surrey being part of our global economic equation. And really, we are here globally to share our prosperity. The world economy is interdependent. Economic progress of a nation depends upon its ties with other countries. And really, this is so apparent each and every year with the number of global changes that we hear about, that we experience. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with the Surrey Board of Trade, we support business, we bring business into the city. We do that through a very diversified service portfolio, through government advocacy. We're a concierge of connections. We have a business and international trade center. If you are not a member of the Surrey Board of Trade, please join. This, again, is where innovation is happening. You want to be part of the business movement here in Surrey. So ladies and gentlemen, and really we're so pleased this evening to welcome Canada's International Trade Minister, James Gordon Carr. Please help me welcome him. And for the minister's benefit, Minister Carr wanted to make sure that you knew the energy and vibrancy that is Surrey. So ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen.
It is a fact that the economic powerhouse is in Surrey as we become the largest city in British Columbia. That brings opportunity with the largest amount of industrial land inventory, a border-crossing city with our largest trading partner, and an international docking facility that brings in goods from all over the world. The Surrey Board of Trade represents 6,000 member contacts and over 60,000 employees. You're invited to work together with the Surrey Board of Trade as we set the stage to become BC's largest city. The Surrey Board of Trade connects you to a network of businesses and professionals, locally and internationally. Take your business further, expand your brand, and let the Surrey Board of Trade's government advocacy help your business and your economy. Experience the value of our unparalleled service delivery for your business. Business connections, workplace training, International Trade Center, government advocacy, business and entrepreneurial center, industry development. The Surrey Board of Trade, here to support your business and attract business. Become a member today. Visit businessinsurrey.com. Surrey, where business happens.
So everyone, we have the most number of manufacturers in British Columbia right here in Surrey. We have a health and technology district. We have a couple of border access points to the U.S. A third of our land base is agricultural. A third of our population is under the age of 19. We're going to be the largest city in BC by 2040. And we speak 104 different languages in our city. Half of our population has a mother tongue other than English. And you can fit the cities of Vancouver, Richmond, Burnaby in the city limits of Surrey. And again, Surrey is exciting now, and Surrey is where business happens. Tonight's event is focused on the strength and innovation of our businesses, where they took an idea and used it as a foundation for building a business. We thank our sponsors tonight because without them, events like this simply would not take place. Our silver sponsor is the Port of Vancouver. Our bronze sponsor sponsor is the Trans Mountain Corporation. And our media sponsor, Surrey's radio station 107.7 Pulse FM and the Surrey Now Leader newspaper. And our business and international trade center sponsors, if you're looking to start a business, need business support, need international connections, trade documentation, you want to come visit us at the Surrey Board of Trade, and my wonderful colleague Melissa Peel, who manages that center. And again, our sponsors for that are the accounting firm of PwC, the law firm of Fasken, and our Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, represented by S&F Benefits. After tonight's presentation, I urge you to visit the exhibitors around this room and in the foyer. Please help me thank, just hold your applause for just a moment, the BC Lions Club, Bean Wizard Solutions, Brighton College, Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, Canada Eurasia Russia Business Association, Vancouver Chapter, Channel Spark International, the Consulate General of India, the Consulate General of Indonesia, the Consulate General of Ireland, the Dhaliwal Group of Companies, Guildford Seniors Village, Inn at the Quay, Latin Vancouver, PwC, S&F Financial Group, and representing the United States, You Can Trade. Just some special guests in the audience that I wanted to introduce, and of course the minister will be introduced more formally just later on. Arvinder Pal, who is the Consulate General of Canada in the Mumbai office. Thank you for coming. Nikunj Nayak and Matthew Gibson of the Consulate General of India. Amit Kara, the Consul General of Australia. Mr. Frank Flood, Consul General of Ireland. Mr. Suchat Nukuya and Petra Dost of the Thai Trade Center Royal Thai Consulate. Ms. Maria Renata Hutchigalang, Consul of the Republic of Indonesia. Tatina Domilovskaya, representing Serba, countries of Eurasia and Russia. Maria Sabo and Chris Singh on behalf of the Honorable Bruce Ralston, Minister of Jobs, Trade and Technology. Dr. Nitin Ribi, Honorary Consul of Mauritius. Paola Murillo and Anna Zavalishnia of Latin Vancouver. Renee Umuski and Cale Husband of the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service. City of Surrey councillors, Brenda Locke and Linda Annis, I see are in the audience as well. We have a couple of seats for you, Brenda and Linda, just up here at the front. Thank you so much for attending, everyone. I just wanted to mention before we bring up our minister that we have an exciting announcement tonight. The Canadian government, we all know, is working diligently on signing new international trade agreements in order to make it easier for Canadian businesses to do and expand globally. But why? Many of you here tonight know the answer. Exporting can help your business survive and grow. So can importing. There are real opportunities to trade internationally. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am really proud to announce a very differentiated program, unlike any other in Canada. The Surrey Board of Trade is proud to announce our Export Spark Support Ecosystem, an in-class international export training program for small and medium-sized businesses It is different from other programs that are only offered online or demand a large financial investment. This program is for small and medium-sized businesses, even if you are not thinking about doing business globally. It is designed and facilitated in partnership with Channel Spark, who you can meet afterwards. At registration, we gave you a brochure on what this international ecosystem is going to do for businesses in Surrey, and I urge you to take a look at it. Speak to my Board of Trade staff or myself. It is designed in partnership with Channel Spark that has over 25 years of experience in coordination with our international trade services to ensure that any business has a clear plan of action when you're doing and selecting your global market of choice. We will deliver an executive summary report with recommendations on next steps, recommendations for your company's export plan, a best fit country market to explore, because not every market is right for every product or service, critical country information and market conditions, an overview and information about the Trade Commissioner Service, which is a vital partner in this program, and of course the CAN Export Program, a personal introduction to relevant consulate representatives, and a personal introduction again to our Trade Commissioner Service. So we're so excited at our International Trade Center of the Board of Trade to be offering this to you. You're going to hear more about it in the months to come, but it is ready, it's active now. If you know of anyone, if you are interested in getting that support, again, it's unlike any other program in the market. Thank you so much to Channel Spark. Let's give them a round of applause. And now I wanted to, again, just thank the Port of Vancouver for their sponsorship and to tell you a little bit about how they affect our international trade economy. Please help me welcome Evangeline Englisson.
Everyone, it's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Anita. I would also like to start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people. And on behalf of everyone at the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority, I'm delighted to be here and proud to be supporting this event and supporting the Surrey Board of Trade throughout the year. A special welcome to our Minister of International Trade Diversification, the Honourable James Carr. Thank you for making the time to join us today to recognize the achievements of Surrey's finest importers and exporters. As many of you will know, the Port Authority is a federal body responsible for enabling the movement of Canada's trade through the Port of Vancouver, and it's Canada's largest port, and by far. The Port of Vancouver connects Canada to the world, enabling trade with more than 170 countries. Each day, we all use the products that have been imported through the Port of Vancouver to support business, communities, and our day-to-day living, and of course for our exports. About $1 of every $3 of Canada's trade in goods outside of North America moves through the Port of Vancouver. And port activities provide about 115,000 jobs, high-paying jobs across our country. Here in Surrey, those activities mean more than 5,600 jobs. And the good news I can share with all of us here, talking about trade, is that Canada's trade is growing and it's projected to keep growing. Last year, the Port of Vancouver saw an overall cargo growth record, including record volumes of grain and records of numbers of containers shipped. And we're forecasting more growth over the next 5 years at an average rate of 3.6%. To manage growth, there have been recent capital improvements to terminals in Vancouver, as well as investments in road and rail to improve the flow of trade. But there's always more to do, and after many years of studying how best to address growth, and particularly in the container trade, we have determined that Canada needs a new marine container terminal on the West Coast. The proposed Roberts Bank Terminal 2 project is a new terminal in deep water, and I hope you've heard about it. It's an exciting project. It would provide enough capacity to manage Canada's growing trade in containers into the 2030s. To that end, the Port Authority is very grateful and appreciative of the Surrey Board of Trade's support for the project. We look forward to continuing our collaboration with the Surrey Board of Trade to ensure the future of our region and our port, our country, is prosperous, and local businesses that you work for tirelessly become ever more competitive. So now I'd like to leave you with a very, very short video that illustrates one ways that the port connects people to businesses over the world. And it's really over Surrey's hopping craft beer industry. And I think on a warm day like that, sounds pretty enticing, maybe perhaps after today's events. But I'm very pleased to share this video with you, and once again, really to congratulate all the nominees and the fantastic work that happens here at Surrey Board of Trade. Thank you so much for having me.
My name is Gary Lowe. I'm brewmaster and partner with Central City Brewers and Distillers.
My name is Gil. I distribute BC beer in China.
Started off as a home brewer when I was at university. There was no craft brewing scene in Vancouver. I've brewed thousands of beers in my career, and I've always brewed the beer that I like. And it's nice to know that other countries appreciate our products.
In China, we are selling the Red Racer beer in the supermarket, bars, and the five-star hotels. When I'm in Vancouver, I go to the different breweries to see where the beer is produced.
We import a lot of our raw materials, and we also import our packaging. Even our brew house, which makes the beer, was imported.
The area which like BC beer very much are the first-tier cities in China, like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. All of our beer that comes to China are through the Port of Vancouver.
I never imagined my beer would go as far as China. So it's very exciting to see the products that we make gain global recognition.
It's very important for the Chinese people to know that the product they are getting is high quality. It's very exciting to bring the BC beer in the Chinese market.
I feel very proud when I visualize somebody in China enjoying one of my handcrafted beers. Very good.
Thank you so much to the Port of Vancouver, also for your partnership with the Surrey Board of Trade. Thank you. And yes, I'm speaking on behalf of the Surrey Board of Trade in support of the Roberts Bank Terminal 2 and absolutely needed infrastructure in light of all of the free trade agreements that Canada is signing. So we need that infrastructure expansion. So now I wanted to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening. He is the Minister of International Trade Diversification. He has been dedicated to business and community, especially initially in Winnipeg for more than 30 years. He entered public life in 1988 when he was elected to represent Fort Rouge in the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. Minister Carr's community leadership has earned him numerous awards, including the Canada 125 Medal, the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, and the Order of Manitoba. We're so pleased that you stopped here in Surrey, British Columbia, soon to be the largest city in BC. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Minister Carr.
Anita, after knowing you for about half an hour, I think you'll be the largest city in the world. The energy is infectious. I can feel the spirit. I think I want to move here. And then after the gorgeous day that was sent from who knows where, and now all this talk of a cold beer, I'm not going anywhere. I too want to acknowledge that we are on the territory of the Coast Salish people, and it's important to make that acknowledgement, not only because of the territory that we share, but also because of the values that we have learned from Indigenous peoples, and that is to leave the earth better than we found it. That we have to think generationally And in Indigenous culture, that's 7 generations. And much of the work that we do, much of the work that you do, is not only for today, but it's for generations to follow. So I acknowledge that learning and honor it. Now, does everybody know that Anita was named an honorary captain with the Royal Canadian Navy for her important work in the Greater Vancouver community? I want to be on your side, that's for sure. And that you are a very strong community builder, and you've been instrumental helping Surrey companies export into new markets. Anita, I commend your work promoting business opportunities around the world. We're working toward a similar goal. And in fact, Surrey's Board of Trade's tagline includes 2 of my favorite words, innovation and inclusive. We both have to help companies expand into new markets, attract new customers, and create jobs for Canadian entrepreneurs like so many of you here today. That's what our trade diversification strategy is all about. Helping companies right here in Surrey, a rapidly growing, culturally diverse, thriving innovation hub in the heart of the Fraser Valley. As the largest city in Metro Vancouver, Surrey has connections to strategic trade routes, the modern Fraser-Surrey docks, the Port of Vancouver, as we have heard, 2 international airports, and 2 crossings at the U.S. border. This is the perfect place for businesses to thrive and explore new markets. And so is the entire province of British Columbia, which is a major source of Canadian exports to the world. BC exported $48 billion worth of merchandise last year, and that number is rising thanks in part to the Surrey Board of Trade and its members, you here tonight. Your entrepreneurial spirit, your innovation are essential in Canada's continued prosperity. We take a lot of time and space in Canada talking about how we distribute the national wealth. It's an important conversation and it can be heated. Over here on this side of the room, you want more to go to education. Over here, it's infrastructure, your healthcare. Me, I like symphony orchestras. But we don't talk an awful lot about who creates the wealth that we distribute as a nation. Well, actually, you create the wealth. And in the world of trade, the reason that we are so aggressive and hopeful is because we know that enhanced trade around the world creates jobs for Canadians. And that's what we want to help you do. So I'm also pleased to highlight the recent $100 million of expansion of the Canada Export Program to help Canadian businesses reach their global ambitions. Businesses like Northwest Metec Corporation, the company that will be honored tonight for their export achievements. Metec is a good example of how a Surrey company can take off in international markets. They make equipment that's used by most major commercial jet manufacturers to coat engine parts. In part, I have them to thank for helping me fly safely to Vancouver last night. And I want you to fly me safely home to Winnipeg early in the morning, where I haven't been for a couple of weeks. And I'd like to thank the President and CEO of Metec, Neil Young, for the work you do. We produced a Neil Young in Winnipeg too, you know. But he just sings songs. Neil is here tonight and he'll tell you that Metec does a lot of business in international markets, and thanks to an $11,000 Can Export grant, they're exploring new opportunities in Japan. We're helping 12 other companies in Surrey expand into international markets with $318,000 in funding. Across the province, this program has funded nearly 300 projects for BC-based companies to target new international markets. And that funding really does make a difference. Almost half of those companies have started to export to new markets within a year. And we also want to attract international investment in Canada to help stimulate our economy. And just this morning, I was really happy to announce $329,000 to help the Vancouver Economic Commission support their goal, some of you were there, to attract job-creating foreign companies to the Vancouver area. And today's announcement brings the total Can Export funding in BC communities to $1.6 million since 2016. These funds are helping Canadian businesses to take their businesses to the next level and their products to the world while creating good jobs right here at home in Canada. We're also increasing the number of trade commissioners at home. We have several of them here tonight. I'm going to introduce them in a minute. And it's the most wonderful service. First of all, do you know how much their consulting fee is? It's zero. How many of you in the room have used the Trade Commissioner Service? Well, we hope after tonight it will be more of you. And we know that this government has invested in the service 160 cities around the world. We have a network of commissioners who have expertise in every sector, in every industrial component, in every region across the globe, and they are available to help you. Some of you who have been very comfortable in your relationship with the United States, it's easy, language is similar, culture mostly similar, but you know too that to expand into export markets, especially when you see the narrative of others who have done it successfully, is a very important and bold step. We have more than 1,000 knowledgeable trade commissioners, as I said, in 160 cities around the world. Businesses like Response Biomedical have taken advantage. Earlier today, I toured their Vancouver-based operation, learned about the life-saving work that they do. It's an amazing story. Their technology delivers blood test results in 15 minutes to help doctors quickly diagnose life-threatening conditions, such as heart attacks and strokes. Patients quickly get the right treatment they need, which helps save lives and reduce healthcare costs. And with the help of the Trade Commissioner Service and Canada Export Funding, Response Biomedical expanded their global footprint to Europe and to Southeast Asia. And today, their technology is being exported to 40 countries around the world. PowerTech Labs, an important innovator in the BC clean tech industry, is another example of how our Trade Commissioner Service can help Canadian companies export innovation and find new customers. I was amazed to see the lab just a few hours ago in their test facilities, where 200 scientists, engineers, technicians, and other specialists do important work. PowerTech delivers a software package that ensures electrical grids on a national scale are reliable, resilient, and efficient, helping prevent blackouts in countries around the world. Thanks to the Trade Commissioner Service, PowerTech is exploring new markets and will continue to grow and create good jobs for people right here in Surrey. Are you curious now about the Trade Commissioner Service? I hope so. Don't be shy. Ask Trade Commissioners Kale Husband and Renee Umizuki. They're both here tonight. Where are you? They're both here. One of 1,000 trade commissioners around the world, and there will soon be more, thanks to the generosity of my colleague, Minister Morneau, significantly investing in the service. And they can help connect you to key markets overseas. So these are the investments we're making. I want to talk about some of these trade deals that we've signed over the last little while and just what it means. We now have access to 1.5 billion consumers in Canada's free trade zone. When you add the European Free Trade Agreement, the Canada-US-Mexican Agreement, to the CPTPP, the Asian deal that we ratified recently, along with other agreements that we've signed, we are the only G7 nation with a free trade agreement with the other six. Think about the competitive advantage that offers Canada. And by the way, speaking of competitive advantage, I was just chatting today and again a few days ago about what is Canada's chief competitive advantage internationally as people make decisions about moving hundreds of millions of dollars around the world, billions of dollars around the world. Do you know what they said? Your chief competitive advantage in Canada is your immigration policy. In contrast to the protectionist headwinds that are blowing around the world, in response and in contrast to those who have a narrow view of a talent pool, Canadians don't see our talent pool confined by the borders of Canada itself. We see the world as our talent pool. Because after all, with the very important exception of Indigenous peoples, where did we all come from? Some of us came from Ireland. Some came from Russia, from Ukraine. Let me ask you, when Canada was born as a nation in 1867, where were your ancestors? Call it out to me. India, Ukraine, England, Ireland, Greece, France, Vietnam, Belgium, Latvia. 10 countries in 10 seconds. Not bad, eh? And what does that tell the world? That tells the world that we are open, that we have strength in our diversity, and it has trade consequences too. Because what it means is that we have all of these ambassadors who understand language and culture that helps us. We are now very aggressively looking to invite more foreign students into Canada, while encouraging more Canadians to study abroad. This is our great strength as a nation, and we are the envy of many. So I also want to say that Asia, that you look out onto, is home to the world's fastest growing middle class. By 2030, nearly 2/3 of the world's middle class, estimated to be 3.5 billion people, we'll call Asia home. And also to know that the CPTPP, the trade deal that we signed and ratified, by the way, in record time through the House of Commons. Why did we pass it in record time? Because there was an agreement on all sides of the House that trade liberalization was good for Canada. There was no serious political debate. And because we were able to ratify that agreement so quickly, we have a competitive advantage over those who didn't, including, might I say, the United States. So we are in a position that is really pivotal. And we haven't stopped at these agreements. We're modernizing our agreement with Israel. We continue to negotiate with the South American economies in the Mercosur, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil, the ASEAN states of Southeast Asia, the Pacific Alliance, because we believe that when we sign these free trade agreements, we build bridges that come to life when you as the entrepreneur cross those bridges with investment, with goods, with services, and with people. So I want to challenge us all to be ambitious, to be proud of what we have accomplished, to work together as government and as industry and entrepreneurs, to cross those bridges, to create jobs for Canadians, to create wealth and prosperity for our great nation. And there's no better place to do that than here in Surrey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister Carr. And absolutely, we're all in it together. Business is borderless around the world. And we always need to think about what our competitive edge is, not only as a nation, but when we are innovating in delivering our service and making our product. So, Minister Carr, thank you so much for your keynote address tonight. Now for the presentation of the 2019 Surrey International Trade Award. I'm going to call the chair of our International Trade Team, Dr. Greg Thomas, to the stage, please, to present the award. The International Trade Awards in Surrey provides recognition for the success of import and export achievement, raising awareness of the vital contribution international trade markets makes to the BC's business economy, and provides a catalyst for companies to reach even higher levels of excellence. The Surrey Board of Trade International Trade Team accepted applications, and the nominee businesses were accepted, evaluated, and met the criteria, which included the following areas of focus: the degree of innovation in their marketing strategy, trade growth achieved and the ability to sustain that growth, evidence of sustainable competitive advantage, value of exporting to the applicant over time, and the overall company's commitment to doing international businesses. So we did receive several applications with those that met those criteria. The finalists were Cargo Care Shipping, Cargo Care Shipping, Coast Fraser Enterprises Limited, and Northwest MedTech Corporation. Let's give them a round of applause. And the 2019 Surrey International Trade Award goes to Northwest MedTech Corporation. Congratulations. So, before you deliver your acceptance speech, I just wanted everyone to turn your attention to the screens. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our winner tonight. First of all, MedTech is a privately held company incorporated in 1990 right here in Surrey, British Columbia. The company got its start as a technology transfer from UBC. When a UBC researcher couldn't find plasma spray torch that met his needs, he had an idea on how to make a better one. That UBC researcher became one of the founders of this company. MedTech, ladies and gentlemen, manufactures advanced plasma thermal spray coating equipment and provides expert coating services, support, and development to customers from a wide variety of industries, including aerospace, energy, printing, metals, and metal processing. MedTech has shipped or installed 70 systems all over the world in a dozen countries. MedTech has improved on the existing methods of plasma spray, really articulating and displaying great innovation. Plasma spray involves creating an electric arc and forcing across a stream of gas, heating that gas into a plasma. Powder metal, ceramic, or other material is injected into that plasma plume. Powder melts and is sprayed on part to form a coating. MedTech's equipment differs from everyone else on the market by injecting the powder axially into the middle of the plasma plume instead of radially from the outside. The difference results in high production rates with high quality coatings. MedTech manufactures the innovative Axial 3 torch along with other associated equipment including a control system. The equipment is built by an experienced, highly skilled, multidisciplinary team of 8 people based in Port Kells, Surrey. The company is focused on growing their product and service while creating new jobs, again in Surrey. MedTech clients range from industrial customers to government labs, universities doing research materials, science, and coatings. They're well represented in Canada with equipment at the National Research Council facility in Quebec, along with systems at Concordia University and the University of Toronto. Their industrial customers are located, again, all over the world and work in a range of industries from aerospace to pulp and paper. Numerous coatings are used in jet engines to increase the efficiency and lifespan of the engine, including insulating coatings and sealing coatings. MedTech is a good example of a Surrey manufacturing company that is making an impact on the global market. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner, MedTech.
Hello everyone. I'd like to dedicate this award to my predecessor, Mr. Mick Zeller, who made many necessary changes to transform this company before he lost his battle with cancer in 2015. I'd also like to thank my board of directors for their constant support and our employees without whom none of this would be possible. I'd like to thank the Honourable Minister Carr and the federal government for their support through CanExpert, the Trade Commission, the National Research Council, and Export Development Canada. I'd like to thank the Surrey Board of Trade for this award and for their support of local businesses and international trade. And finally, I'd like to thank my wife Anne for her constant support. Thank you all.
Congratulations again. Just a jewel, a hidden jewel, right here within our city. So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal part of tonight. You're going to go back to networking. You're going to visit all of the exhibitor booths. You're going to celebrate the world right here at the Civic Hotel. Thanks to our sponsors, the Port of Vancouver, Trans Mountain Corporation, the Surrey Now leader, Pulse 107.7, and of course, thank you all to our exhibitors, to you as guests tonight. We have the room until 8 o'clock. Surrey is where international trade happens. Come and visit our International Trade Center. Have a good night.